Ahsoka Tano is an extremely beloved character in the Star Wars franchise. As fans, we got to see her grow from when she was just a young Padawan to her now having her own show. It's only right to learn about her story and who she is, so here are 5 interesting facts about Ahsoka Tano. Did you know that the original name that George Lucas had for Ahsoka was Ashla, which actually meant light side of the Force? The counter to this word was Bogan, which meant dark side of the Force. While the name Ashla was changed to Ahsoka early on in production, Ashla actually had some further meaning in Star Wars. Do you remember this Togruta youngling in Attack of the Clones? She only makes a brief appearance, but in canon her name was actually Ashla. Dave Filoni mentioned that they were actually going to retcon this character to later become Ahsoka, but with further thinking they decided that the timeline wouldn't make sense, so they ended up letting the character go. As a nice nod to the original name, Ahsoka goes into hiding after Order 66 and codenames herself Ashla. This was done to hide herself from the Empire. Have you ever wondered why Ahsoka wields 2 lightsabers instead of 1? When Ahsoka was a young Padawan, she used to practice Form 4, or Ataru, with a single green lightsaber. Throughout the Clone Wars, she found herself getting into more dangerous situations. Anakin then approached her one day and introduced to her what was called Jar-Kai. Jar-Kai wasn't so much of a form, but more of a style. This was when a lightsaber user uses 2 lightsabers in their fighting style. Anakin mentioned this would actually allow her to block blaster bolts a lot easier. Some other lightsaber users who used Jar-Kai were Asajj Ventress, Starkiller, and even Darth Sidious. Ahsoka had many different lightsaber colors throughout her years, but one of the colors that she had was blue. When Anakin gifted her these blue lightsabers towards the end of the Clone Wars, Anakin modified Ahsoka's old green lightsabers to blue. But why? Luckily, Dave Filoni gave an in-depth answer to this. He stated that he wanted to show a clear connection between the master and apprentice relationship of Anakin and Ahsoka. Anakin tinkering with her lightsabers was the way to show that although she was gone for a while after she left the Jedi Order, Anakin was always thinking of her. The lightsabers were a representation of her place in the story and his thoughtfulness of her. Despite Anakin's good intentions, it also showed his protectiveness as he put time into making them like his own. While not in an aggressive way, it shows the need to control those around him. Filoni mentioned this is very Anakin, that he means well but has a tendency to take things too far to express how he feels. In Ahsoka's later years, she wields white lightsabers. Ahsoka obtains these lightsabers by defeating an Inquisitor shortly after the events of Order 66. You may wonder, how can she get white kyber crystals from defeating somebody with a red one? Well, it's a simple process. Ahsoka was able to form the color white by taking the red kyber crystal of the Inquisitor's blade and by connecting to the Force to purify the crystals. Once these crystals are purified, they turn to the color of white. In simpler terms, imagine the crystal is trapped in the dark side user's blade. A light side user can then free this crystal, which allows it to become white. The color white represented Ahsoka that she is not a Jedi nor a Sith, but a Force user that was committed to the light side and did not follow the Jedi codes and ethics. This becoming Ahsoka's new way of life and her own definition of what a Jedi truly is. Did you know that Ahsoka could deactivate her enemies' lightsabers? Throughout Star Wars, a rare Force ability that some possess is the ability to turn off others' lightsabers by only using the Force. When dueling, every Force user has a unique Force barrier where they can actually block out Force powers from their enemy. It's why you really don't see 2 Force users constantly pushing and pulling each other nonstop. So using an ability like this would actually require a lot of energy and concentration. That's why it's so rare to see. Only the most elite of Force users can use this skill, and the only other Jedi known to be able to do this was Yoda. If you want to learn more about Ahsoka, I attached a full guide about everything you need to know about her. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you always.